So Marathon released at the start of March, and a lot of people have been praying for the downfall of the game, myself included. And then you have a bunch of white knights online defending the game and praising it as the best game they've ever played. And then, of course, you have the silent majority who just want to enjoy good games. Despite usually landing in the latter category of just being a gamer who wants good games to play, I certainly find myself rooting against Marathon. So I wanted to do some introspection and figure out why I am anti-Marathon. But really, it isn't that hard to figure out. I'm not just blindly hating here. I started making Destiny 2 content on YouTube in 2020. I covered the game religiously for over 4 years, and I played it religiously for like double that amount of time. I missed a lot of great games that came out between 2018 and 2025 because I was so consumed by D2. I truly loved that game for a period of my life, but then in 2024 I could see the cracks showing. Every seasonal launch was met with a ton of bugs and game systems not working. Dungeons, some of the game's best content, would come out with awful game-ruining bugs. Issues like the memory leak problem that would shut your game down after 6 consecutive hours of playing cost me 2 solo flawless dungeon runs, and this problem plagued the game for numerous years. On top of the degradation of the quality of the game, I saw the proliferation of scummy business tactics to try and drive up weekly active user metrics and player spending, or the integration of time gating that served only to help Bungie's metrics at the detriment of the player experience. I could make a 12-hour video about every scummy thing I've seen Bungie do, and I have called a lot of it out in videos over the years. I had people saying I was just a hater and this and that, but I wasn't always, obviously. You don't play a game for 8 years and also make and consume YouTube content on that game if you hate it. Quite the opposite. The only reason I was doing that was passion, plain and simple. But I'm also a realist, and I could not ignore how poorly Bungie was treating its player base and its game. So I called it out. Just because you love something doesn't mean you can't critique it. I mean, look at the mega cult and how Donald Trump can do no wrong and how they flip-flop on what they agree with and disagree with at the drop of a hat as long as their leader says so. It's fucking pathetic, just mindless sheep. So no, I wasn't going to take the destruction of my once favorite game lying down. So I used my voice to speak for myself and the other disgruntled players in the Destiny community. And over the last year, the game has seen a swath of players leave the game because they have finally seen the writing on the wall. And I like to think that I helped contribute to that in some small way. So why do I want to see Marathon fail? Simple, because I think Bungie is a horrible company who does not care about gamers, they care about money. And to be clear, that is not to say that the developers don't care. I think they absolutely care about making a fun product, and they probably cringe at the orders that they get from management to make a cool skin but lock it behind a paywall instead of making it earnable in-game, or do some other anti-player tactic that only serves to please the shareholders in the C-suite. I honestly really feel bad for them, because I too have been a foot soldier at a company who made terrible decision after terrible decision in the name of short-term profit, rather than the long-term health and benefit of the facility, or in the gaming space, what is best for the player in the game. So I fully think my reasoning is justified for wanting Bungie to fail, and to be clear, I absolutely understand that that means layoffs and the loss of jobs for people who absolutely do not deserve it. And that honestly makes me really sad, but I stood up for my employees at my last job and I got fired, and it was the best thing that could have happened. My life is great since leaving. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 was a smash success made from ex-Ubisoft developers that were just being wasted at the studio. Props to them for leaving and pursuing their passion and making an amazing game. I know Bungie is full of talented people who could be an asset to a gaming studio that actually cares about making good games. So no, I don't want people to lose their livelihood. But at the same time, a scummy company like Bungie going under is a win for gaming. Sometimes bad things have to fall apart so better things can fall together. And on the topic of DEI and woke devs, I don't subscribe to that whatsoever. Old greedy white businessmen are far more detrimental to the gaming industry than some lesbian with pink hair. Who people want to fuck does not dictate whether they are good at their job or not, so let's quit with that rhetoric. Herman Holst and Andrew Wilson have done more harm to gaming than any queer person writing a queer character could. And it's not just men, mind you. Sarah Bond has been detrimental to the Xbox brand as well. I have no biases when it comes to this. I'll call you out for shitty business practices regardless of what you look like. Are some characters added to a game that are super hollow and bland and just there to serve a quota to have a token minority? Yes. But they can also be super well written and there for a purpose. No one complained about the female characters in Claire Obscure because those characters were all exceptionally well written and voice acted. And none of this is to say that the characters in Concord weren't lame as hell, because they were. They absolutely deserve criticism there. But I am just saying, labeling someone as an untalented dev because of their looks or sexual orientation is ridiculous as hell. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get back to the main topic of the video, which is why people want to see games fail. And yes, some of the grifters out there want to see games fail because they have an unsexy female lead or an option to add surgery scars, but I think by and large, why more people want to see games fail is this. I saw a tweet from a YouTube creator named DSR Joker, and I'm going to read some of it out. They were replying to a tweet essentially asking why people dunk on AAA games for not doing well. He replies, "Why does any of this matter? Because for the last 15 years, AAA game development has increasingly spent more time figuring out how to make you psychologically dependent on a game than figuring out how to make a good game. Entire teams exist not to design mechanics, but to design retention loops, systems meant to keep you logging in, daily and weekly chores, seasonal grinds, monetization systems meant to bleed players, psych staff to make sure a game is as manipulative as possible. Not because they make the game better, but because they make the metrics look better. Simple truth, players who spend more time in a game are more likely to spend more money. Billions of dollars have been poured into engagement pipelines, behavioral analytics, monetization funnels." This is spot on and a problem of late-stage capitalism as a whole. So many people still have this idea that capitalism breeds innovation because the best product wins, and that really hasn't been the case since the early 2010s and the iPhone. The iPhone is a great product, sure, but now they've just released the same phone every year with a slightly better camera. That isn't innovation. In fact, they're probably holding back tech just so that they can slowly and incrementally make changes to push out a minor enhancement each year. Because you can't just make huge advancements year over year forever. Not to mention the planned obsolescence and how with one system update they can nuke your battery. Anytime I've ever needed a new iPhone, it's just because I run out of storage or my battery turns to shit. Car companies monetizing your heated seats behind a monthly subscription service. That isn't providing you with good value, it's extracting value out of something that you used to just pay a one-time upfront fee for at the dealership. The last 15 years, technology has peaked by and large, and all the innovation now is how to squeeze the most out of your consumer and add more ads to things, regardless of the industry. But when it comes to gaming, this is a huge problem because games are art first and foremost, and making art with monetization at the front of mind is a direct contradiction. They don't go hand in hand. So sure, while a lot of grifters just make content crying about woke and DEI and no big boobs in my game, that is just to make money off of rage bait. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like to think those people are a loud minority and that most people don't give a shit about that. But people are tired of being treated like pay pigs by every monopoly all over North America. We have no way of fighting back. These monopolies own the politicians who draft the policies to let them get away with their scummy practices. But in gaming, when a game fails, that hits a company where it hurts, on their bottom line. So while people have been cheering that Marathon has low player numbers, it is because they want to see a company like Bungie fail for all the shitty ways that they have treated their player base in the past. That's why I want them to as well. As for games like Highguard or Concord, it is because they were chasing live service when they could have been making a fun single player campaign. A type of game that is slowly dying as suits chase that live service money. But it's a genre that is still clearly very popular, as we have seen with the recent success of Resident Evil Requiem. I actually enjoyed Highguard, but if it has to die so that studios will wake up and start delivering games that put passion and care first, then so be it. Players clearly want more experiences like Resident Evil 9, but the only way they will get those is if those projects get greenlit. And the only way that will happen is if executives finally see the writing on the wall that live service is not worth the gamble anymore. That they are far more likely to fail than succeed in the pursuit of the Holy Grail. So when another live service game is shoved down our throats, we push back. Horizon Hunter's Gathering is the next in line from Sony in their live service push, and people are going to fight back against it in the exact same way, because most people would rather have a fun single player campaign like the first two Horizon games. Same goes for Fair games, and the list goes on and on. Hogwarts Legacy was a massively successful single-player RPG, and then there are rumors that they want to make another, but make it a live service. It was super successful, and yet rather than repeat the formula and give players what they want, they think, how can we make this worse and less appealing? It's absolutely mind-blowing. So if that does get pushed on us, then I hope people don't buy it, because by showing these companies that you don't want this shit, maybe, eventually, they will have to cave and listen and go back to making games people actually want. Slay the Spire 2 also came out at the same time as Marathon, and people have been praising it and cheering it on. Why? Because the success of a game made by gamers for gamers is good for gamers. So to summarize, I don't think people want every game to fail. I and many others have raved about the success of Resident Evil and Slay the Spire just this week. We want live service games to fail because they are fundamentally at odds with putting the player first. They are not there to serve the enjoyment of the people playing, they are there to serve the interests of the C-suite and the shareholders, and gamers are sick of it. I posted this video on my main channel because a lot of people say I'm just a grifter for wanting Marathon to fail, and that is just not the truth. I want people to see that I just want to play more good games as well, like Mutagenics and Slay the Spire and Claire Obscure and Hollow Knight Silksong. Games made by gamers, for gamers that put player enjoyment above all else. And seeing them succeed by doing so makes me so happy. I want this live service trend to crash and burn because it's been a plague on the industry. People think I just hate on Bungie, but that isn't true. I dunk on EA and Activision Blizzard and any other company that treats gamers like shit. And I don't just stop at the gaming industry. Fuck Loblaws for making Canadian grocery prices insane. Fuck Microsoft for ruining Windows more and more with every update. Fuck every AI company for dumbing down society and wasting precious water which we need to survive, while driving up the cost of all consumer electronics. Fuck any company that puts price gouging and making money before making a good product and good customer experience first. I just talk about Bungie the most because I am most familiar with all the ways that they are bad thanks to dedicating so much time to playing Destiny 2. Anyways, like and sub to my second channel where I do more video essay stuff like this. Follow me on Twitch at itssizzle7, and lastly, thanks for watching to the end if you're still here. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.